Well, Jane, I've always been fascinated with actors' earliest experiences. When you did Live and Let Die, now how big a deal for you and how pampered did you feel by the James Bond company making that film?
I've never been that pampered since. It was amazing. I mean, the James Bond film was the biggest thing that ever happened in England. And they would make me triples of my lingerie that would never even be seen. You know, they'd make my shoes. They didn't just buy shoes. They made everything. And you know, I traveled all over the world and I was treated very, very well. I, of course, was a very young 20-year-old, a really young 20-year-old, probably more like my daughter was at 15, and very innocent. And mercifully for me, Roger Moore and Louisa, his wife then, really kind of took me under their wings and looked after me.
Do people still come up to you and say, pick a card, any card?
The kids come up to me and they say, I love your movie. And I went, gosh, which one? And they said, Live and Let Die. And I think, my God, that's 26 years ago I made that. That's fantastic. They still recognize me. It's good news.
Oh, you still look great.
Thank you.
Now, a question about this movie. Now, working in the audio booth, how surreal experience? Because I know you've done looping, of course, for movies and TV shows, but to spend all that time in an audio booth, a little unnerving at first for you?
They filmed us. And I was playing opposite Kaylee, so actually it was almost like playing it, but of course we weren't in costume and there were no lights or anything.
Release of Action Jackson.
It was just a different experience, but one that was very gratifying and a great learning experience for me because it's something I really like doing. It's fun to be able to just use your voice because then how your physicality is no longer an issue. And so often, you know, when you're acting, someone says, well, you know, I love your acting, but you just don't look quite right, or you're too old, or you're too young, or too blonde, or too dark, or who knows. You know, don't like your nose or something. I mean, here they go and they draw the person they really want, and then you get to do the acting with the voice.
The first time you saw the rendition, was that something you went
Well, it was never supposed to be me. It's supposed to be Lady Juliana, and really when I saw Lady Juliana, I was just hoping that my voice fit the image they had. But I think by the time they'd finished, Lady Juliana and I, apart from hair color, we've come pretty close.
Now, I was kind of surprised when you said that they filmed you in the audio booth. It seemed to me that one of the great things about doing a job like this for an actor is not having to go into hair and makeup when you went to work. And you got cheated on that.
I thought that too, but I definitely needed hair and makeup, and they did film us, and I'm sure there'll be some documentary out there showing the making of, and I will be in there however I was that day. But it was also fun because I got to meet the animator, the lady that was actually going to draw Lady Juliana, and she could really see my expressions, you know, and how I reacted to things and how physical I was.
You know, there's a great comment from Mel Gibson when he did the voicing for Pocahontas, where he said he didn't do it so much for himself, but for his kids.
You don't do this for money, let me tell you that. Number one, you do this because it's a labor of love, it's something you want to do. I definitely did it for my kids. I also did it for me because I love the Camelot stories. I love everything to do with the Arthurian legends. And of course I live in that area in England. I have a home, a 1,000-year-old home, right there where King Arthur and all of that happened. So it was very special to me, and I've always wanted to be part of that kind of a movie, and why not an animated movie?
Last question. I love keeping mementos from movies I've seen. Now, when you work on a film like this, what kind of cool stuff do you take home?
Well, I took home a two-headed dragon that speaks. That was fun. And I treated myself to some Celtic jewelry. So every time I make a movie, I find something that is a memory for me on every movie. And for Camelot, I kind of got into the Celtic look.